Well, I'm out here thinking that Snow White is going to end up being the worst of the worst when it comes to Disney live-action remakes, and then a couple of movies from my childhood immediately spring to mind. It's like, oh god, it's only a matter of time before they put them on the remake docket and totally ruin everything. One of them being Fox and the Hound, which, oh, oh god, it's just going to be some gay romance that they're going to do, and it's going to be absolutely atrocious. And then I'm thinking about something that is probably ubiquitous to everybody's childhood and could a compelling case can be made that even Bambi, as opposed to Snow White, might even be more universal to society as a film, because I think it's one of those mimetic ideas that is endemic to everyone. We all know about Bambi's mom and how traumatizing that situation is the first time that you come across it as a child, and well, what are they going to do to it? Okay, because they're going to be changing key scenes. We're going to be modernizing Bambi, a film just like Snow White that also came out 80 years ago. And you know why it doesn't need an updating? You know why Bambi 2, nobody talks about that at the same rate that they do with the original, is because it's a universal coming of age story. Even though it's with anthropomorphized animals, you already know the story. It's just the cutesy packaging and probably one of Disney's best stories. If we're going to be completely honest, there's no, after the fact, you take a look at the story and go, oh geez, that's kind of cringy. And you know what, it's probably best if kids don't take away that specific message where the simp always prospers. There's none of that with Bambi. It's like, okay, you grow up, you come through something traumatic, and then you grow up and you realize that, well, life and your childhood is not really going to be anything what it's going to be like when you become an adult. Those are just the facts of life, but it's all about the friends that you make along the way. It's a very good story. It's been universal for 80 goddamn years. You don't need to run this back. And especially with somebody as hack as the chosen writer is, which I'm wondering, man. Like, we know that Disney's going through it from a financial aspect, and if they're making cuts, it's like, okay, we already knew that there was a considerable lack of talent when it comes to people behind the camera, not even to speak about the people that they put in front of it that are just basically empty vessels, but holy crap, are they scraping the bottom of the barrel with this one. Disney's Bambi is getting a live-action remake over 80 years since the animated version hit screens. Why? I know, I think everybody has watched this film, but it might have been a long time for other people, and for me, I remember watching it. It's one of the first memories that I have moving up to Grand Prairie in 1996, where I currently reside right now. I remember it was a snow day, okay, in 1996. I was in what was that, the first grade? No, because I remember the house that we were in at the same time, because there was so much snow that I could look in through, because we lived in a two-story house at the time, and the way that the snow was piled, I could look right into the second story from the snow pile that was made in the front. But regardless, okay, it was staying home on one of those days, and Bambi was on TV for whatever reason. They had it replaying. It was probably on TBS or something like that, because Disney had those distribution deals with Turner Broadcasting. And yeah, watching that, and it was traumatizing and sad, but and it's one of those memories that is definitely going to last with you, knowing that the things that you love most in the world will eventually be taken away from you, okay? And that you just have to cherish what you have while you have it. It's a good message. Why do you have to update this shit? It makes no sense. Yes, getting a live-action remake, and the news has divided fans of the entertainment giant. Who's left that's like, oh my god, I really love Disney, except for the perpetually online crowd, which don't really have children of their own. They're just looking for other people to indoctrinate, but I digress for a moment. In an interview with Collider, on September 26th, writer Lindsey Andersen Beer. I was like, okay, cool. So you got the writer to sit down with you. What is her illustrious record? And I have it pulled up here off to the side, and it's like, yeah, you really are just getting people with absolutely no credits to their name. Like, she's the writer. The only thing that she's written, well, okay, there's one thing that's going to be coming out next week, October 6th. There's going to be, I'm trying to get this precise or not, it's a remake or a prequel for Pet Sematary that's going straight to Paramount Plus. So, okay, so she's going to have some kind of animal experience to help her with this unspecified release date with Bambi, which I'm sure Disney's not kind of waiting to see the performance or the lack thereof for the Snow White live action remake in order to table a specific date for this one, but I digress, and that was a joke with the Pet Sematary thing. Anyways, and her most notable, or her two other notable credits, because she's got nothing on her resume, by the way, so I don't even know what qualifies her to get quite possibly, if not the most popular, top 3, top 5 Disney films of all time, her getting the writing credit for. She also did Sierra Burgess is a Loser in 2018. Okay, and she was also in the writer's room for Chaos Walking, starring Daisy Ridley and Tom Holland. You remember that abortion? Well, it did about not at the cinema, and is the reason why Daisy Ridley is the only person looking forward to that Rey Solo film that may or may not be coming from Lucasfilm in any indeterminate amount of time. But no, that's the dearth of her work. Lindsey Andersen Beer has nothing to her name. But then again, hey, what she does have experience with is something that she's also going to have to deal with in the post-strike Hollywood mandated writer's room. Yes, she was only a script, in the script department for Chaos Walking. Okay, so that Hindenburg of a film wasn't entirely her fault. She was just in that mandated writer's room. So you know what? This time around, guys, the buck stops here, just like it was for Sierra Burgess is a Loser, which we all know and remember, right? From 2018. We all seen that. Anyways, she shared her plans for the remake. Oh boy, strap in. I don't think that there's a way to update Bambi and I do think there is a way to update Bambi. I was just unfortunately projecting some of my opinions on this by saying I don't think there's a way to update this. Yeah, if you want to do one of those creepy live action remakes like you did with The Jungle Book or The Lion King, it's like, okay, just have those dead eyes behind those CGI animals. Okay, great. I see deer on a semi-consistent basis. So yeah, if you're going to put one that's just in the uncanny valley that's up there, it's all right, I'll go for a run. I'll just be able to see a real-life whitetail or a jackrabbit. Like, I don't think that these are terribly unique sights to people, but okay. And our take on it did give a little bit more of a scope to it. How? Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to run back the origin story for Bambi where, Dad didn't get shot at the beginning of the film. No. Dad ended up getting relocated to a different wildlife sanctuary by those evil bastards, the Fish and Wildlife Organization, okay? And then Bambi's mom has to have a close, intimate conversation with Bambi some years later, realizing that, yes, she's lonely and she has urges of her own, and that's why, the moose that's been around is not an uncle. They've been living together with a secret life, and maybe Thumper, it doesn't quite feel like a jackrabbit anymore and wants to live their authentic life as a skunk. Like, what are we doing? How is that going to be modern? Doesn't this come right off the heels of Bob Iger saying, we're really going to tone it down when it comes to the culture war? I'm starting to think the culture war to him is just losing legal lawsuits in the Florida courtroom, okay? He doesn't perceive any of the creative endeavors of Disney that got them into that catastrophe to begin with within that scope at all. But yes, and I just think that, going back to the quote here, and I just think that to be able to bring it to life for kids these days in a way that maybe they'll relate to a bit more would service to an original. Oh my God, literally, okay, the kids today are rebelling against traditional entertainment. That's why they're all, just stuck with little black screens in their face 24/7. The fact that you think that you need to update it in order to reach the kids instead of reassure the parents that are already uneasy on the Disney brand right now that, no, trust us, this isn't another piece of groomer propaganda. You can trust us with your kids for a second, because Disney cultivated this veneer of being family friendly over the previous few decades, several decades, okay? And then over the course of 3 years, they ended up pissing it all away. So now, what's your big strategy in order to get that goodwill back on your side? Do the exact same stuff that ended up pissing off those parents from beforehand. Wonderful strategy. In a recent poll conducted by Redfield and Wilton Strategies, I have no idea who you guys are, on behalf of Newsweek. Okay, cool. Newsweek's internal polling. This should be great. Found that 50% of American adults were happy for Disney to update its older content to align with modern values. I would love to see the inner workings of that poll, because every time that we ever take a look at that stuff, a lot of the people that are indifferent do a bunch of the heavy lifting for the positive affirmations. So, and given the fact that you can only say, well, half of the people care. Well, do you take the kids to go see that? Oh, we don't have kids. Then your opinion is irrelevant, because you're asking adults about updating kids' content. I'm not saying that kids' content can't be good. Hell, the original Toy Story, which eventually they're going to remake too, don't you think that that's going to be creepy as all hell if you're already just sketch about the Bambi remake? But also, Star Wars is intrinsically a child-centric product. I'm talking about the original trilogy. Maybe even a little bit about the prequels as well. It's not stuff that I, resonate with. That's not a part of my childhood at all. But still, we've seen what happens when Disney gets their hands on these products. Modern day Disney, not old Disney. It's totally different. Big divide right there. They end up screwing it up. Just, again, take a look at what's happening with Snow White. We don't need the prince. She's not going to be saved by the prince. And the prince is, kind of creepy. So yeah, if it needs to resonate with kids these days, I'd imagine you're probably going to have a gender confused or a cross-species love is love relationship between Thumper and Bambi, where dying inside on that one. I pray to God that doesn't happen. However, fans were unhappy with the idea of modernizing Bambi. It's legitimately timeless. You don't need to update it, which was released in 1942 and was Walt Disney's 5th feature-length animation. Yeah. How exactly do you modernize something that took place in the middle of a forest, wrote JW Cartoonist on X, and social media, yeah, formerly known as Twitter. Okay, can we get past that at this point in time? It's X now, unfortunately, for better or for worse. There was nothing about Bambi's original story that screamed this was made in the 40s. Exactly, man. They've re-released and re-released remasters, okay, upscaled in 4K, all of this Bambi hand-drawn beauty, and it looks as good as it ever has. Well, if that's what you want to do to modernize it, fantastic stuff. I'd say shelve it when it comes to the creepy, CGI, but, well, my pleas will only go so far. But we'll see if this is going to be another one of those cases beforehand that I'm thinking that, okay, Disney's going to go ahead and do their worst. That's why, at least right now, at the time of recording, there's no firm release date on this Bambi remake because, well, the writer's strike and the actor strike. The writer's strike is over. The actor strike, well, they're meeting again on Monday, so who knows? It's probably going to be over here very, very shortly. So, yeah, production's going to start ramping up on this stuff, but with Snow White and all of its baggage coming along in March of 2024, and Disney knowing that, we're going to have to start doing something that's profitable in the very near future, I'm thinking that they're probably just waiting before they figure out, because they just looked, and there was a point in time where these live action remakes were printing money. For as bad as that Lion King remake was, it still made $1 billion. The Aladdin remake, which personally affronts me, that's my favorite Disney film, if we're going to go ahead and say anything about those, that one ended up making $1 billion, and it's got Cuck Will Smith as the legendary genie that Robin Williams made famous, and nobody talks about any of that horse shit. Even over the past 18 months or so, how many live action remakes have we got? Hell, even just going back to 2020, I'm probably going to end up missing a few, but there was the Mulan remake. Anybody remember that? No? Exactly. Earlier this year, Peter Pan and Wendy had to go ahead and just elevate the importance of Wendy in that story. Even if you watched the film, you understood that most of the story was carried by Wendy, which, okay, why exactly can't you just call it Peter Pan? You're already leeching off the IP. Oh no, it's not about telling a good story. It's about elevating marginalized people, the most plentiful people on the face of the earth. But don't worry about that. And then, of course, Little Mermaid came out earlier this year. Hell, that was within the past couple of months. Nobody's talking about any of these things because they all flopped tremendously. And Bambi, well, this one's just going to be, why? Why are you doing this? Disney plans to give Bambi a modern twist, possibly downplaying the tragic death of her mom. That's kind of the most important part. Okay. Has sparked backlash against the company's woke crusade to meddle with its classic films. Writer Lindsey Andersen Beer recently told Collider that she is working on the script to update the animated 1942 film into a live-action remake for more modern audiences. I think that we'll be able to bring it to life for kids these days in a way that they can relate to a little bit more Oh, a little bit more would be a service to the original. I don't agree, but at least she is acknowledging that there is source material. It's just, have you watched it? While light on details on how, oh yeah, she would modernize Bambi, make it more relatable to kids today. Yeah, I don't know how you do that. She says that she is looking at how the film dealt with the death of Bambi's mother. Oh yeah, that's definitely how Disney would go ahead and meddle with this stuff. Bambi's a strong, independent woman, and she don't. A strong, independent doe, and she don't need nobody holding her back. She'll go back and get vengeance on one of those evil hunters, right? Not to spoil the plot, but there's the treatment of the mom dying that I think some kids, some parents these days are more sensitive about than they were in the past. Once again, just inferring the motives because, okay, you have Bambi. You're going to know exactly what you're going to be in for on this one. It's not going to be a big surprise when, mom ends up taking a dirt nap. And I think that's the reason that they haven't shown it to their children. You don't even know that for sure. It's a classic. And kids are watching snuff films or simulated snuff films. Hell, if they're subscribed to Logan Paul, they definitely are. In today's day and age anyway, so they're seeing worse. It's like, yeah, because Bambi's, it's like, that didn't make any sense. It's like, are they going to go ahead and make Bambi a doe now instead of being a buck? Like, is that what we're going to do? Are we going to gender swap a deer? What the fuck? Disney has come under fire for its recent updates to animated classics, which include casting black actress Halle Bailey, who can't act, who can sing but can't act, to play Ariel in a live-action version of The Little Mermaid. House of Mouse upcoming Snow White replaces the Seven Dwarfs with magical creatures and no prince at all whatsoever. And Snow White's just going to be great, continue to be great, and fight the queen, who is not going to be saved by the prince. And, well, do we even need to know the plot? Because nobody's going to see that shit. Andersen Beer plans to update Bambi set off of a deluge of criticism. A modernized Bambi? Pretty sure that story would still work today, just as it is. One person wrote on X. Another question. I was wondering what this means. Modernized, retelling. They going to change Bambi to be a moose instead? No. Bambi will just, try to break off the antlers. And it's like, I don't want to. I'm going through a tough time in my life, and I just need to have them taken. I just need to have them sawn off by a woodpecker. Won't somebody please listen to my lived experience? How exactly did you modernize something that took place in the middle of a forest? Yes, JW cartoonist, once again running that back. There was nothing about the original Bambi story that screamed this was made in the 40s. Yeah, that's one of those things, right? Because obviously there are some of those old cartoons that still look as good today as they did back in the 40s or in the 50s when they were made. Some of that weird dark point for the for Disney from the 80s, that does look a little bit dated, but I think the 90s stuff still probably holds up, but it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I watched any of that. Disney has already put advisories on older shows and movies on its streaming service, Disney Plus, warning of potentially offensive content and even putting age limits on classics such as Dumbo. What? They already did a live-action remake of that. Peter Pan, same thing. And the Aristocats. Oh, Lord. Hey, man, the Aristocats was great. There aren't too many anthropomorphic tales that Disney has that are real bad. At least I don't think. At least the ones that I've seen. Recent poll from Redfield. They're just citing the exact same one there. And it's like, again, I'd love to see the undergirding methodology of that poll, but I'm sure it's probably just total trash. Dragging out classics from the grave and putting on a shiny new set of clothes to squeeze money out of them is disrespectful to their legacy, commented Manny Artist via X. You're meant to be a creative company. Stop rehashing and go create. And yeah, that used to be their modus operandi, just putting on just a brand new coat of paint and just dragging out all of the old films. But as we've seen with this straight to Disney Plus, and then instead of going straight to Disney Plus, you're just kind of resigned to the dustbin of streaming history with Peter Pan, the absolute drop, and I mean one drop in the ocean that was The Little Mermaid. And then even the ones that did make money have absolutely zero cultural footprint. So the times when Disney can just go ahead and rehash a classic and make a bunch of money, That's a long in the rear view mirror. So that's why I'm thinking they're probably waiting for, just a little bit of a sign out there to know if, can we go ahead and release it? No? Okay, it's just going to end up. Oh, okay, cool. We'll just go ahead and not do that. We'll try to put out something. Oh, no, wait. But our writers and our mandated writers' rooms that we just capitulated to right now want to go ahead and put out something that is just trans propaganda. Oh, fantastic. This is a bed of your own making, Disney. Now you got to lie in it, or have it bought out from under you by Apple. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.